welcome to another edition of Ramblogue, where I'm going to ramble to my way through a monologue. This time I'm going to I want to take a look at something pretty kind of funny, really. I mean, I'm going to call this segment "I Saved You a Click," because I'm going to take a look at an article that just made me laugh and laugh, and I just want to share the joy with other people. But to give it some context, it's frustrating and funny at the same time for me, because like when I started doing these, one of my first thoughts was like, don't make these political. Just keep this as like media criticism or media pop culture analysis. No one wants to hear, your political thoughts. Then the problem is, what I'm interested, your own interests bleed into this sort of stuff, and I found it interesting, the situation with Brooklyn Nine-Nine, but that's obviously heavily influenced by a political situation, and it's interesting that people are having trouble separating their pop culture from their politics at the moment, and I think that's spreading, and it's spreading to weird places. Like, I'm noticing the tribalism that's affecting politics, affecting like movie discussion and culture and pop culture. But what's interesting is I've noticed it's only happening with the more frivolous popcorn movies. Like, it's not happening with the art films that really have something interesting to say. It's like the fluffy, family entertainment that is just supposed to be escapism and isn't supposed to be making a huge point about anything, other than just, let's get invested in a hero, fighting fighting way through some obstacles to save the day, like, so Star Wars movies and Marvel movies particularly are the target of the ire here, and I find that fascinating, because again, there are so many movies that with actual political content that do not get discussed like this, and part of me, the cynical part of me, just wants to go, well, the sort of people who are dumb enough to engage in this kind of vitriolic discourse probably not engaged enough to watch actually like thought-provoking films, and they're putting all of their effort into, discussing the Snyder Cut, The Last Jedi, and all that stuff that's caused a lot of more controversy. I don't know. Maybe I'm just spinning nonsense here. I don't know. It's just interesting to know. But anyway, with that in mind, I would like to take you to an article posted in August of last year. So it is an old article that I was sort of pointing in the direction of. I won't go into where I who brought this article to my attention, but no snitches. If you know, you know. And I don't want to cover the same ground either, so I will read some of it, but like, where do you start with this? So it's on a website called cosmicbook.news, or just Cosmic Book News, and this website is kind of, in my opinion, I've looked through it, it's pretty heinous. There's a lot of stuff. They really hate Kathleen Kennedy. They've decided, as a woman in power, she's responsible for all things they don't like Star Wars. They also don't like Brie Larson and Captain Marvel. It's 2SJW. They're not fans of The Last Jedi, and they even put up an article about how Kathleen Kennedy was getting fired, and like they were bringing George Lucas in to redo Last Jedi, or some nonsense like that. This is the sort of clickbait bullshit that's on this website. So this is a website with the sort of reputation as a "we got this covered" website, which is another website that is famous for just posting absolute horseshit, tons of it, to generate loads of clicks, and eventually, they might get one right, and they'll point to that, because they threw enough shit at the wall. If you say enough actors are, your sources are confirming that this actor is going to be in this movie, eventually you might get one right, and then you can go, well, that's the same source that told me this, and make up some more bullshit. It's kind of self-perpetuating. But I want to read you one article from their thing, because it's just hilariously wrong, and it's wrong before. It was wrong then for a bunch of reasons, and it's even wronger now, and that's kind of hilarious to me. Like, the basic facts and assumptions made in this, it's like an opinion piece. It's like what would happen if, like, not Bill O'Reilly, what's the other pillow? Tucker Carlson was doing pop culture criticism, is what this is. This is the Tucker Carlson of pop culture criticism. I'm going to read you this article, or parts of it. Disney purging Star Wars Marvel woke agenda is the headline. It's written by Matt McGloin, who should be utterly ashamed of himself, by the way, for this tripe. But anyway, with Star Wars, and I'm going to read it I'm going to have to read it in this voice, by the way, in this tone, because this is the tone I hear it in when I read it. With Star Wars failing at Disney and fears surrounding the coronavirus causing the company to lose billions, it's claimed that Disney will be changing its approach to various franchises, including Star Wars and Marvel. And I'll give you a clue. The picture at the top of this article is Luke Skywalker and from The Last Jedi and Brie Larson as Captain Marvel. So have a guess. It's no secret that Disney has been promoting a, in quote marks, woke agenda in its movies and more. And it's no secret that that woke agenda has been a huge failure. Just going to stop them there to point out. Captain Marvel. $1.1 billion doesn't sound like very little money to me. I also want to point out The Last Jedi, $1.3 billion. I mean, on what planet does a $1.3 billion return count as a failure? This is what I mean about it being delusional before it starts. I mean, it's talking about these failures like it's a fact this movie was a flop. You could only talk that way about a movie like John Carter of Mars, which is a movie that made nowhere near its even budget, like famously. You know, that's a failure. You can't, that's categorically, by any way you slice it, a failure. But $1.3 billion is not a failure. So you can't say, well, you can because they've done it, but like you can't accurately or fairly say. And it's no secret that woke agenda has been a huge failure. If you're saying that Last Jedi was part of that, you're wrong. And also, we'll keep going. So this is the next sentence. Star Wars is a complete disaster at Disney as it's been on the decline. Now, I looked into that. Just double checked, just in case. So $1.3 billion for The Last Jedi. The next movie in the run, $1.1 billion. A couple $100 million in it, which sounds like a lot of money, but ultimately you could put that down to a few things. It could be the response to The Last Jedi, dampening it a little, but it's not dampened it by a lot, let's be honest, if that's what they're trying to imply. You could also put it down to franchise fatigue. It was like the sixth Star Wars film in as many years, fifth, I think. People, arguably, maybe a bit tired of the franchise by then. You could also put it down to poor reviews, as it received the lowest reviews of the previous three films, putting off some of the more casual viewers who sort of could take it or leave it, who might have gone to the last two on positive word of mouth, because both the previous movies were reviewed well by critics, not including these real fans. Anyway, so I just want to, we'll get back to this. So Star Wars is a complete disaster at Disney and has been on the decline since the release of Rian Johnson and Kathleen Kennedy's Star Wars The Last Jedi, which caused fans to bail on the franchise in droves. I mean, it didn't take them long to drag Kathleen Kennedy into it. Like, what? Rian Johnson and Kathleen Kennedy's Star Wars. She did, of course, write the script and direct the movie. Rian Johnson's just a name they slapped on it. And it did, of course, cause fans to bail on the franchise in droves. The Mandalorian is, of course, not at all the most popular, or one of the most popular shows on television. Don't worry about it. Don't think about it. $1.3 billion. Anyway, regarding Marvel, on the movie side of things, there have been problems with Brie Larson, and we can argue that even though Captain Marvel was a success, okay, look at that, a little bit of an acknowledgement, I should say, of the success there. Similar to The Last Jedi, it was another woke approach which failed, as the writing and directing team are not back for the sequel, and perhaps the biggest proof Captain Marvel was a failure is that Kevin Feige has apparently downgraded Brie Larson at Marvel and is now promoting Elizabeth Olsen, as Olsen is liked by the fans a whole lot more than Larson and Carol Danvers. I actually fixed that sentence because it's got a massive grammatical error in it towards the end, but okay, so the crux of this point was two things. One, weird, insane speculation that Kevin Feige has some sort of big board in his office with pins and the pictures of the various actors in it, and he's moved Brie Larson down for some reason. They're non-specific. It's just, what does it say? Biggest proof that it was a failure. Where is it? I'm trying to find the sentence. Oh, there have been problems with Brie Larson. Unspecific. They've linked it, actually. You can click on it. Oh, dare I click on what they've... Oh, they're claiming... Oh, there's another article they're linking to where Okay. Apparently, they've got another article claiming she didn't get on with the rest of the cast of Avengers. She's barely in Avengers. She barely shares scenes with other cast members. Maybe one scene. I doubt they could have gotten that much on each other's tits in that time. But anyway, different story. So they're saying basically that, even though it was financially successful, Brie Larson's becoming a problem. So they're pushing Elizabeth Olsen to sort of the top of the pile to replace her. I'm shrugging as to what their point is about what that's got anything to do with a woke agenda. Even if that was true, which it isn't, but even if that was true, that would be just an actor falling out with the production company or people involved in it, and nothing to do with a woke agenda or anything. So what are they talking about? So as this woke agenda hasn't been a success at Disney and all of Hollywood, in quote marks, it's claimed that Disney is going to purge all the SJWs and cater to the fans. Yeah, the real fans who hate stuff. I don't know. This article is embarrassing to read. Like, if I was involved in writing an article like this, I would be embarrassed. But this is exactly the sort of rhetoric and way that they speak when they do Fox News stuff. It's fascinating to me. I'm sorry if this isn't of interest to anyone else, by the way. I find this stuff endlessly interesting. Sorry, let me just adjust the mic. I learned after the first one that I shouldn't adjust the mic as much because you can really hear it. I don't get it. So this information apparently comes from a guy called Doomcock. Now, I've looked into him. He's basically a YouTuber that does a similar thing, just puts a bunch of spurious nonsense out there, claiming it's from a source, and eventually, you again, if you claim enough actors are going to be in enough projects, you're eventually going to get one right, and then you just point to that one out of 1,000 things you said and go, see, I predicted that. Or the things that are kind of guessable, like, a lot of people assumed, WandaVision might play into Multiverse of Madness before they said Elizabeth Olsen was going to be in Multiverse of Madness. So all you've got to do is say, well, we've heard, our sources tell us that Elizabeth Olsen's in it, and then as soon as it becomes fact, because you based it on sort of the logical progression of this, you go, well, we called that one. Our source, it's the same source that told us that Keanu Reeves is going to be Kraven the Hunter, so that gives our credence to our new theory. It's horrible. Anyway, so this Doomcock guy has been providing information about this. So I'm going to now read you some quotes from Doomcock's video that they've included in their article. Hollywood is indeed a woke wasteland, and now out of that wasteland, a new hope has suddenly appeared. Oh, God. This guy's such a fucking pillock. The YouTuber does note this information sounds too good to be true, but the info comes from a high-level source. That's always how they phrase it, a high-level source. It's never. I got it from a runner. It's always some mega connection these idiots have. According to the source that has been reliable in the past. See, again, they always try to validate it by talking about any maybe guesswork they've had correct. The shit is about to hit the fan at Disney, says Doomcock. I am told that getting the SJWs out of Disney is now priority one, mandated by the sudden realization that sometimes cliches are cliches for a reason, and a new understanding at the highest level that get woke, go broke is no longer just a slogan. Yes, they actually said get woke, go broke, in reference to a company that is actually one of the most successful companies on the planet. It's the biggest pop culture media conglomerate. Like, they own everything. They've already hit their 5-year goal for subscribers on Disney Plus. Their movies make billions of dollars. Their parks make billions of dollars. Like, this is lunacy. This is absolute fantasy, and it's hilarious how much conviction they're putting into this. It's like they're making up news stories to sort of satiate their own egos and beliefs. It's like, I really want to believe that the SJW culture, in quote marks, is ruining my movies. And that they're going to suffer because I'm right about this, and they're going to lose all this money. So I better make up an article that says that that's true. Either it's that, like that kind of delusion, or it's somebody who just goes, you know what, these motherfuckers will eat up. They would love to be told what they want to hear, which is that get woke, go broke. Either way, it's nonsense. It's so funny and so stupid. Yes, you heard me right. Just as incredible as it sounds, my source boldly claims that Disney is now only concerned with one thing: profitability. Cool. Well, they'll carry on doing what they're doing then, won't they? The proclamation is to be sent out from high to every corner of the enchanted kingdom. Disney is a for-profit business moving forward, and the customers come first. The woke party is over because the mouse has awakened with a terrible hangover, and it's a new day at Disney. My source tells me that these huge policy changes are about to be made at Disney. Bad-mouthing fans, no matter what they say, or what side they're on, will no longer be tolerated. That goes for everyone who works at Disney, everyone, including Brie Larson and the Lucasfilm Story Group, and everyone that Kathleen Kennedy has ever hired. So, I'll stop reading from the article now, but it goes on then to talk about what exactly he's talking about there. Basically, a few of these guys have taken shots at fans, or not fans, but people who've given their movies unnecessary. Okay, let me step back a little bit. Some of these people have hit back at people who have been abusive to them on Twitter. Ryan Johnson did not speak fondly of the people who bullied Kelly Marie Tran off Twitter. Kathleen Kennedy, Brie Larson, Taika Waititi, all people who have taken stick for being SJW, whatever, on Twitter or on social media, have correctly fought back against abusive tweets making fun of them or their families, or I've seen some of the tweets these guys receive. It's disgusting. Ryan Johnson has literally received death threats. It's insane. So they're claiming that that's no longer going to be tolerated at Disney because that's them kicking out at the real fans, and that's the part of the cause of them losing all this money that I can't seem to see where they've lost any money, but sure. Other than coronavirus-related reasons, I can't seem to see any movie that underperformed that should have performed. I'm scratching my head a little bit here as to what they're talking about, but sure. So they're that's the rest of the article goes on to talk about how it's going to be focused on profit now, and they're going to purge all these SJWs out and cater to real fans who will make them all the money because there's so many more of them. Now, this article's from August, obviously. And it's obviously false. It was obviously false at the time. It's obviously false now. But just what I love most about this is the last couple of weeks have sort of proven just how wrong this is. Particularly, Gina Carano has obviously been not fired as such, but just not rehired. It seems like when she was posting offensive stuff on Twitter and social media in November, they already pulled back on. They were looking at contracting her for this what's it called, Rangers of the Republic series, but they looks like they made a shift last minute, because when they announced that series, they didn't name any actor associated, but the rumors are, and I shrug, this is no better, saying, oh, it's from a source. Some people have suggested that the plan was for it to be about Carano's Cara Dune character, and then they sort of pulled back last minute. Is that true? Who knows? But the point is, for sure, they have chosen not to give her a new contract for any new shows. That's fact. Disney have said that. They said that they haven't, she doesn't currently work for Disney. She's under no contract with them. And they described her recent Twitter activity and Instagram activity as abhorrent, which is a good word. For those who don't know, by the way, she was tweeting, comparing people who suffered, the Jewish people who suffered during the Holocaust to modern day Republicans, which is insane. And also, it's worth noting, you're not being persecuted for Republican views, Gina. You're being persecuted for posting dangerous anti-vax shit or or turf stuff, anti-trans tweets or stab in the dark here, offending Jewish people with your other one. And now it's worth also adding, I suppose, she didn't say the thing about the Jewish people, she just reposted a thing someone else had written, but by doing that you're essentially implying you're agreeing with it. And either way, it's not Republicans being persecuted, it's terrible people. It's not cancel culture, it's consequence culture. You've said something, and the check and balance to you having the free speech to say what you like is that there are consequences to you doing that in the world. That is what you balance free speech against. Consequences. You lost your job. Good. Anyway, it's one of those things where it's like frustrating, but it's so funny to me to see all these people that were bullying Kelly Marie Tran off Twitter now being like, it's cancel culture. Are you fucking kidding me, you hypocrites? Crazy people. Anyway, the other story that I thought was interesting this week was Ryan Johnson did an interview. I can't find the actual video. I don't know if it's not been released yet, but basically the person who conducted an interview with some of some people relating to Star Wars, it looked like, has tweeted out that she did an interview with Ryan Johnson, and in the interview he says that his trilogy is still on. Now, the video I have not been able to track down yet, so it mustn't have been released at the point I'm recording this. But yeah, so as far as he's aware, his trilogy is still happening, which again just shits on everything written in this article. So yeah, I just want to get this sort of. I mean, I guess the point of these Ramblogues is to get some of this stuff off my chest, and like this is a really good example of like something I just had to just. What is this? That this exists is insane. So yeah, the politicizing of popcorn movies is crazy. This article is insane and wrong in more ways than accountable. I think if I tried to create a computer program to analyze the false statements made in this article, it would just die. It would just it would just explode. It's just nonsense, top to bottom. And I feel sorry for anyone who's reading it. I feel sorry that this is the state of pop culture discussion and criticism. Like, the discourse should be better than this. I don't think. Because I don't think any of these movies are that overtly political. I really don't think like The Last Jedi or Captain Marvel are that political, beyond maybe some casting choices to be a bit more inclusive. But I mean, where's the politics in like where's the SJW politics in Captain Marvel other than lead characters that are female? And if you genuinely think that's a problem, then you're just a misogynist, right? I don't understand unless I'm missing some element of their criticism here. I really don't get it. Feel free to educate me in the comments if I'm missing something, but those movies seem pretty inoffensive on the whole. Like, so it's weird they've gotten behind those. But yeah, so there you go. I saved you a click. Is the conclusion. I hope you had as much fun hearing what the article had to say as I did. It's crazy to think this exists. Genuinely. It's all nonsense. So there you go. Saved you the click, and I'll see you on the next one.